Hello, everybody. Anime Reflux. We're a little short-handed this week for reasons that some of which I know, some of which I don't. Um,
It's a mystery to everyone.
yeah,
Ooh, spooky.
yeah.
Spooky mystery.
Speaking of spooky mysteries,
Not so much mysteries, but yeah. Okay, so the anime this week that I wasn't present for the choosing of is which I was one away from Hajime no Ippo. I'm still mad about that. But, whatever. So Hakaba Kitarou. So I went into this sight unseen. I had no idea what this was. I didn't read the summary. I didn't look at the artwork for it. Um,
yep.
I'm still not entirely sure what to make of it, but I guess we can just dive right in, right?
It's okay. So Hakaba Kitarou is based off, first of all, a manga series that was created back in 1960. And that particular manga series was best known for popularizing yokai and stuff to like mainstream audiences. So
Okay, that makes sense.
that's kind of where this fits in. So you can only get stuff like Narahion and other stuff, which is all about yokai, because this made it more accessible, I guess, for people.
It would also explain the fact that nobody reacts like a human being.
Yeah,
They react like people would 50 years ago, so that makes sense.
Yeah. So this is basically an anime about Japanese folklore tales.
yes.
In a what if they were real sort of sense, kind of. A little bit. There's some plot elements in there that are absolutely nothing to do with Japanese folklore, I'm assuming. But yeah, and the art style Zero appreciates. Slice doesn't, but
It's weird enough to make me interested in it. Like this thing. I'm just looking at the page for it, and it's had several anime adaptations. It had an anime. It's 65 episodes back in 68, 45 episodes back in 71, 115 episodes starting in 1985, 114 episodes in 96. Like every 10 years, 100 episodes in 2007. Then there was a 2008 adaptation, which is the one we were watching.
yeah, and this one is a shorter series of, I think it's 12 episodes. 11
It's
episodes.
11 episodes as opposed to the 100 episode run.
Yeah, and I don't know how the other adaptations were done. I don't know how the original manga was, but when it comes to anime, there's a bit of a scale that you can see sometimes in how they do the artwork. Sometimes it is hyper modern, almost Western Disney style animation.
Mm.
And sometimes it leans more towards the traditional Japanese artwork side of things. This one is very, very, very much the latter. It is the most Japanese painting and sketch style of anime I have probably ever seen, to be honest.
And given the content that we're working with and like the context of when this was out originally, it works well. I feel
It's not terribly surprising that they chose that art style. No.
yeah, it's
not, but it looks
traditional
good.
Japanese folktales matched by traditional Japanese artistry, and that is unsurprisingly, actually, having said it out loud, a really good mix.
Yeah. So, Casey, you want to run us by what happens exactly?
Okay. Exactly is a bit of a tall order, but we'll go with it.
No, just let's just get at least the broad strokes of what this episode is.
Yeah. So there is a salaryman, I'm going to say. He works for a company that I assume has some investment in a hospital. And he gets called in to look at one of the patients because he's a ghost. Or, I think yurei is the term for ghost in Japanese, which is what they call them. And they go in to see the guy, and he's blue of skin. It's all sort of drawn taut against his bones, and he's got a lot of gap teeth, and he's just sort of, "Hey guys, how's it going?" Understandably, there's something along the lines of "what the fuck" as their reactions, and the salaryman is told basically, we need to find out where these things are coming from, and what the hell's going on, and why this guy's here, and they give him an address. And it's right next door to his house.
Yay.
Convenient, that.
So he goes round, and there was immediately a comparison I make. There is one Japanese folktale that I actually know a little bit of, and I don't know what it's called, but it's about two Yamabushi going into this house in the middle of the woods, and there's a woman there, and she's secretly an Onibaba, a demon ogre woman. And this reminded me a lot of that. It's kind of like a new twist on that story, a little bit. So, he goes into the house, and he's met by an old woman-looking thing that is eating a bowl of frog's eyes. Fresh frog's eyes. Whatever that means.
I wonder how that would taste.
Like human eyes, but swampier, maybe?
Like meaty grapes? Is that what we're going for?
I imagine not. I don't know why I'm assuming this, but I'd say possibly chalkier, based on the insides of an eye. But that's based on literally nothing, and just an assumption. So she offers him some, and he freaks out, and then a mummy comes out of the next room, or the wardrobe, I'm not entirely sure which. It's probably not actually a mummy. It's probably a Japanese thing that is very, very like a mummy, but yeah, it's a dude wrapped in bandages, and he's got just the eyes appearing through them.
Based on what happens like a minute later, I think he might just be a creature that's suffering from like leprosy.
Yeah, no, he's literally a creature that has a disease and is bandaged up for it.
Well, that's the thing. They all have disease. That's the thing.
Yeah.
All of them are suffering from, and we'll get to that in a second. So yeah, they sit down at the, Japanese style table, the tiny thing that you kneel at instead of sitting at, which I always thought would be really uncomfortable, to be honest. That's never been an appealing social situation, is kneeling on the floor for about half an hour.
I imagine if the Japanese do it since birth, basically, they have joints that are accustomed to it.
I guess. Yeah. So they sit around the table, and the yurei, as they, call themselves, explain the situation. Basically, there are not many of their kind left. In fact, they're probably the last two, and the guy that's in the hospital, for whatever reason. Because they have been suffering from a disease, and it's been wiping them out. And I forget the rest of the details. There was something about an underworld or something. Anyone else remember?
I think we saw a different translation then, because mine had it where humans pushed them the drink of existence. They starved to death. They couldn't find food. And the sickness was kind of an afterthought.
Oh, okay. So they basically ask this guy for help, and he asks, what about the guy that's in the hospital? And the old woman one is like, well, I saw this guy, and he was suffering and in pain, and he didn't want to die, so I gave him a tiny little bit of my power, and he turned into what he became.
Which is essentially like a corpse, but alive still. Like, you have no heartbeat. You don't need to really do most bodily functions, I guess.
He turned into a zombie. Let's be honest here. That he was a zombie.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
But you know what? He's a happy zombie.
Yeah.
Good
Yes.
on him.
Cheerful. So Salaryman is basically like, I have to tell my boss about this. There is literally no other course of action that is reasonable about this entire situation. I have to go tell him. So he goes back to the place, and the guy that was in the hospital, the blue skin guy, is dead. And all there's left is a green stain on the bed sheets.
Just like salute for the happy zombie.
And so Salaryman freaks out a little bit. He's like, oh, what does that mean about the other two? And he runs back for some reason. Oh, and the old woman said she was pregnant. However, that works.
Well, I assume it would work like normal pregnancy works.
Normal pregnancy doesn't work past 50 years old. That was the
Well,
joke.
she's also kind of... You say that, but there it was. It happened. I don't know.
So he runs back through the rain to their house, and they're both dead. Presumably from the disease. And then the baby is born. Oh,
Well,
no,
after
sorry. He buries them and gives them a grave and says, I gave you a grave. You'll have to be satisfied with that. That's the best I can do.
Don't bear a grudge against me.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, in fairness, that was a pretty honorable thing to do.
Yeah.
Even if you did it out of fear, still, that was a nice thing to do.
Yeah. So, he buries them, and then the baby is born. And Salaryman can hear it screaming from inside the grave. And it bursts out of the ground like a zombie. And starts following him. And, then I get South Park flashbacks.
So I was about to say he pulls a Kyle. He kicks the baby.
Don't kick the baby!
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, really? I get that you're scared of this baby that literally crawled out of a grave, but why you kick the baby? Don't kick the baby.
Yeah, this is another one of those, they don't react like human beings. Who does this? Who kicks a baby? I don't care what it is.
People in the 60s, obviously.
People that are terrified because it's raining and there is lightning striking, and he just watched a baby crawl out of the ground and he's terrified, and it only has one eye, and the other place where the socket should be is just blank.
No, it actually has. It had two eyes until he kicked it. It hit a statue. That's an injury.
Yeah, no, he caused that.
Then why is it covered out? Oh, whatever.
No, you can see both eyes at the beginning. When it first crawls out.
So, yeah, he kicks the baby and runs away. And the baby just kind of crawls around for a little bit, and Mummy Guy's, corpse just sort of... I don't really know what happens, but his eye comes out of its socket. And
he reincarnates.
Sort of,
he reincarnates into his own eyeball.
Yeah,
and he becomes as referred to in the some sort of comics edition. He's referred to as Daddy Eyeball. That's literally his name,
right?
Papa Eyeball or Eyeball Father.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's another kind of yokai. I think. But
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, I've seen a similar sort of thing in other Japanese stuff. So the eyeball finds his son and names him Kitarou, and basically says, "You are our last hope. So let's follow me." And the baby follows him, and because eyeball guy is literally the size of an eyeball,
but with a little human body.
Okay, so it's an eyeball with the veins still attached in size. So they go to just outside of Salaryman's house, and Eyeball says, "Okay, I'm just going to go find you some clothes." And Baby Kitarou is like, "I'm going to see what's inside this house," and finds Salaryman there. And Salaryman's like, "God damn it, I'm never going to get rid of this thing, am I?" So he takes it in. and the eyeball is left outside and is super happy that the kid has a place to stay and shelter and stuff. Time skip about 5 years, I'd say, based on the size of the kid.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So Kitarou is now, a little kid, and he's ostracized by the other little kids because he looks weird. You don't really need more than that. It's little kids. That's how they work.
Pretty much, yeah.
And he's sneaking out at night for reasons unknown, and Salaryman's like, what's the deal with that? And he follows the little kid out one night. And he follows the little kid out and follows him into the woods and to a spot where it looks like there's a hole that's been dug, but loses the kid there. So he goes back home and waits for the kid to come back. The kid comes back, puts a little thing in between the woodwork of the house, and Daddy confronts him. Not Daddy, that's going to get confusing. Salaryman confronts him. And it's like, what was that thing that you just put in the wall? Like, shut up. Salaryman takes it and is like, the kid says, you shouldn't have that. It leads to a place humans aren't supposed to go.
Yeah.
Salaryman insists, and kid leads him to the place where it was, I think.
No. He saw the kid previously just sink into the earth, and he's like, what the heck? Where's this kid going? And he's like, I'm worried about you. I need to find out what this is.
Yeah.
And so he takes the little ticket that the kid has, and he runs over to that same exact spot he saw earlier, and he sinks into the earth, and he's like, what? There's a giant cave system thing down here? And there's this, like, yokai thing down there. It's like, oh my, it's a surprise, and only people who have that are dead.
Mm.
And it's like, oh, well, you can go to hell anyways.
Yeah. And you're not going back, so, welcome to hell. Literally.
Yeah.
And then we go back to the mum of the salaryman, who was freaking out about the kid because the kid's weird, previously. And she's scared because her son's disappeared. She doesn't know what's happened to him, so she just sort of confronts Kitarou and sees him talking to what seems to be nothing, but he's really talking to Daddy Eyeball.
Daddy Eyeball.
And basically, if memory serves, the kid leads her to what appears to be a cliff with skulls and says, if you want to find your son, then you have to climb down here. And then we get a flashback of her talking to sort of a
mystic woman,
yeah,
I guess?
mystic is a good word for it, yeah. And she says, what you're dealing with is, was it a Mononoke or a Mononosuke?
I don't know.
Something along those lines. And the only way to defeat it is to get it to lead you to the edge of the underworld and then kick it in. So she does. And then someone runs up to her and her hair turns white. Someone runs up to her and says, hey, are you okay?
It's a police officer.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, you okay? She's like, I kicked him off the cliff! And this is all insane now.
Yeah. She says, I defeated the Mononoke. And he's actually surprisingly, credulous about it at first. He's like, oh, really? Cool. And then she says, I kicked him off the cliff, and then she's just in the graveyard.
I kicked him off the cliff right over there. He's like, oh, okay. You had me excited for a second there of like a cool... No. You're just crazy.
Yeah, so...
we skipped over the very first scene, which is the best part of the episode to me, because I had a clever joke, and that's
what was that?
The ghost that knocks on his door and says like, hey, we're the neighbors from next door. Hello. just nice to meet you. They knock on the door by apologizing, so I was thinking like Canadian ghost.
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was the
like,
very first scene.
Well, they're like, excuse me. You know, was the translation I saw. No, but like, if they are, that's an abridged thing that should happen. So Hakaba Kitarou.
Sorry, I was doing a Canadian impression.
So Hakaba Kitarou. What you guys? Would you guys be interested in watching more of this?
It's so boring and weird. I can't understand anyone's motivations. Nobody reacts like a human being.
Well,
which, I mean, one of them is not, so it makes sense, but...
I get the feeling that we might get more stuff that makes sense in the future, hopefully.
There's some cultural context in this, both in the fact that it was, you know, written and probably set in the 60s, and in the fact that it's Japanese. They have different priorities, and unfortunately, a lot of things that color Japanese priorities are basically ostracize the thing that is wrong and different. So
yeah,
from a Japanese standpoint, it might actually make more sense that the mother would just kick the monster freak abomination thing into the cliff rather than trying to save her son, for example.
So,
also because it seems like a trap, and you know her son is probably very, very dead if it's trying to trick her into the underworld too.
Yeah, like, hey, come with me, we'll go get him. It's just like that's hell. So apparently, before the manga even existed, this story originated from like a kamishibai, like just kind of a street theater paper play thing back in 1933. And so, which is based off of a loose reinterpretation of a similar folk tale. So like this thing has like a lot of history to it, I guess. And it's very much situated in the time it was made. And for some reason, there's 2 live-action films. So...
Well, yeah, that's... Based on everything that we've talked about in, you know, this episode so far, I have to say this is something of a cultural touchstone for Japan. Maybe?
Yeah, this is like the yokai manga thing, I guess. Manga anime thing. So if you're interested in that and like really getting deep into like all the yokai stuff, go for it. Yeah, kind of
like actual traditional old-fashioned Japanese storytelling that is not all, you know, ninjas and samurai and shit and just telling scary stories around a campfire kind of thing. This might be something that's up your alley. Just, you know,
because the thing with scary things associated with yokai is that yokai has specific rules, and so everybody has to proceed to not follow those rules in whatever way possible and be idiots in order to really fall for things.
Yeah, it's like the Fae, you know.
Yeah.
It's essentially Japanese Fae.
So it's like, hey, don't do that. I'm going to go do that. And this is why you don't mess with yokai. I personally liked it because just of how much, like, with the history, and I've always had a thing for, like, yokai are pretty cool. And there's a lot of history to them. I tend to, like, just, like it's the same thing with the mythology of any other culture, you know? So, yeah, I might watch more of this.
Yeah. It's probably one of those things you want to watch when you're feeling a bit more cerebral than usual. You're not really there to be entertained so much, but you want to learn about the culture and stuff. That's more what you're going to get out of this.
All right. I think we should, any final thoughts? Yeah. I have a number roller right here.
Okay.
You got a list?
Give me a second.
Give you all the seconds you want, but you know, you gotta be fast and furious.
I am
Just
curious
fast.
if you have the copy of the list,
I got it. So
Okay.
or if we were doing this old school.
No, he has it. 16.
16. I think that's P. N-O. Yeah, it's P.
Okay. How many?
It's probably going to be Pokemon. Just going to say.
Okay, that's.
Wait, have we already seen Pokemon?
We did one Pokemon. We did Pokemon Johto. If I remember so.
Ah.
That is 56.
All right, and let's see what we got. We got 49 near the end.
49.
May not be Pokemon, actually.
No, it's probably not.
Psychic Detective Yakun something.
What?
Can you post the link in the chat?
I don't
When you
have
get
the
Yeah.
link because I was just looking at the list. I'm still trying to find it in the thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Psychic Detective Yakumo. That was it.
Okay.
That sounds familiar.
It does.
Yeah.
Don't know why.
Psychic Detective.
I have not seen this, so I'm not sure why it's familiar.
Psychic Detective Yakumo tells a story about a college student, Saito Yakumo, who was born with different eye colors. His
Yay, it's
red
David Bowie! Sorry.
His red left eye gives him a special ability to see ghosts and spirits. He believes ghosts and spirits are bound to Earth because of a certain cause, and simply eliminating that cause will let those spirits rest in peace. Being asked for help by Ozawa Haruka, they begin the investigation together.
Very dramatic.
It is horror, mystery, shoujo, and supernatural.
Hey, remember
Released
that
in
thing we watched like
2010.
2 weeks ago?
Remember that thing we just watched?
Yeah.
What's with the supernatural kick we seem to have hit recently?
I don't know.
Wait, yeah, this is like 4 shows in a row that have done this.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it great?
No. Variety. That's the point of it being random. Ugh.
Well, then use your veto.
What veto? We never actually did the thing where people have to tell me what I have to do to get a new one.
I already
This is
used
true.
I already used my veto too.
Everyone's
Right.
used their veto. That's why we were even discussing having, like...
Oh, everyone used their veto?
Yeah, everyone's used theirs.
Wow.
Like, we went through 4 people using them in one episode once.
I missed that episode. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was Queen's Blade, as I think originally came up, and a patient wasn't having that.
Oh, I don't remember. I remember, was it both Blush and Patient both did theirs, and I did mine, and I think Weasel did hers. I don't know.
You guys decided not to do the Queen's Blade.
Yeah, it's twice
I
that's
was-
come up. It's one of the very few anime that are in the Q section, so it's twice.
I
it's come
was
up.
completely okay with watching it. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of stupid.
It's kind of stupid and kind of porny, which
Yeah.
yeah.
That is a thing.
I'm always disappointed by the porn ones now, just because I compare everything to DxD, just everything, and nothing measures up.
I thought you were going to say because they're not porn. Like, they're...
Well, that too. No. So, yeah, Psychic Detective Yakumo. We have another horror shoujo one, which
Great.
there are a surprising amount of, or maybe we're just hitting like all 5 of them that exist.
There are a lot more of them, trust me.
Okay.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
It's surprising to me that we haven't hit many gag series yet.
Yeah, you'd think that we'd hit more.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh well.
Yeah. We should probably update the list in the near future to include more recent anime that came out.
I think Patient has, but I still have the old list. I don't have the new one that he updated.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was Hakaba Kitarou, and next week we're doing Psychic Detective Yakumo. We'll get out of these detective supernatural stuff eventually, I'm sure.
Maybe.
Good God.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe.
saying that means that we're probably going to have another week of it. So, thanks for that. Get it? Because superstition. Haha.
Ha ha!
Bye, everybody.
Bye.